grassroots. Let's speak now to Kate Hardcastle, who's a consumer expert and host of the Rock and Roll Business podcast. Hi, Kate.
Hi, Matt. How are you doing?
I'm very good. How do you think this will work? Because obviously a levy on, already, and I think we've spoken before, and I've certainly heard you talking before about, whether it's Oasis tickets or whatever, the price of those big venue arenas, the prices have gone up and up and up. You add a levy on that, it's going to be the consumer who pays, isn't it?
Look, I get it completely. I think first and foremost, and going back to the aforementioned furore this summer when it came to that big concert reveal, I think transparency is key. I think what we feel consumers get is an unfair deal when they go and see a ticket price marked to X, and then, you go through the checkout process and it comes out as Y, and that's just a really hard stretch. So I think if this levy is going to exist, it's absolutely about transparency, making sure every penny raised is traceable so that people actually know their support's going directly into the venues that actually most music fans want to champion. The whole idea about grassroots venue is it's the root of the music industry. It's where everything starts. And you've got to remember that all of those bands started somewhere. And I think it is fair that the bigger venues are impacted, because when it's a big ticket price, it will hopefully be a small amount. I don't want consumers to suffer and be outpriced from any music at all, but I think it's got to be about that clarity to make sure that you just don't feel you're being stung by something else that says it's going to a good place and you're not actually then sure where it happens to give the benefit.
I suppose the fact it is voluntary might limit its, and I think this all came as a result of a select committee report into the state of the music industry, where they clearly identified there was a problem, that those small venues where people used to start out, maybe open mic or bands playing their first shows and so on, if they don't exist, you don't have the pipeline to then play slightly bigger venues and end up in those arenas. But if it is voluntary, and then there's a bit of a bun fight over who gets the money, do you think this will be enough to try and rescue the small music, the network of small music venues?
I think the fact we're talking about it today, it's an awareness piece as well as the idea of the funds that will be raised from this. And there's much more needs to be done, including us as music fans. We need to get back to those venues and support them. We have to understand that this is the line of progression for music, and it needs to keep raw and alive and individual and unique. We don't just want homogenised musicians coming through a circuit that just is what the music production business produces. But what I will say is I like the idea that it's voluntary. I do want full traceability and transparency. I want to see where it's going. And as a music fan that can treat myself now and again to a big venue, I had no issue paying something like this. I've certainly got a bigger issue paying for unlimited amounts of taxes and fees that seem to come on everything at the end of the process. But we've got to make sure that, most music fans are good-hearted. They want to support the scene. And if it's going to be down to them, there has to be equal measure put back in by the government, by community and place. I've always talked about this idea of big arenas buddying smaller venues, because it isn't just about the cash either, Matt. It's about making sure that they're shining a spotlight on those venues and reminding people to go there to get the benefit of it, that it's a very different offer. It's not competition, it's complementary, and there should be more of that community piece going on as well. Let's ask arenas not build the thrones anymore. Let's ask them to build the bridges in the music community.
And is there a venue? People listening to this will be thinking, I remember going to see X band in whatever venue. In fact, I wrote a piece earlier this week about seeing Kasabian second on the bill in a venue, about 250 people in Taunton, in a venue called Cafe Mamba. I was involved and used to put bands on every Thursday. I was boasting that I'd called it, that Kasabian were going to be massive, but I called it for lots of people who then weren't, and everyone forgets those. Is there a venue that you're thinking of in your mind that maybe it's one that we've lost, that you think that's exactly the sort of place you sort of hope every town would have?
I am lucky enough to be a Leeds lass. It was the Wardrobe in Leeds. I remember so many breakthrough artists there. I remember particularly Kareem Bailey-Rae. I remember just feeling exceptionally blessed to be in a room so unique and small and bougie, if you like, that we could just all listen to the music and you could hear a pin drop at points. That, if you love music, is an experience still worth having. So go for that. It's worth the money for that.
It's such a good memory. I think part of the reason I'm a little bit deaf in my left ear, and I think it's because of where I used to stand next to the massive speakers,
right next to the speakers,
in the venue in Taunton. Do you think that big artists could do more? That actually the fact that everyone goes straight to your O2s, your Wembley, arenas, and all of that.
Yeah, completely. I mean, it's that idea, that David and Goliath idea of working together I was talking about. If you've got a big artist at an arena in the evening, why not do a limited little sound check in a small venue during the day and get the social media lights on it, the attention on it, that idea of, this complete community around the music scene. For me, we call it the music scene for a reason. It's not just about a big name venue. Great that they happen. Great we have them. I'm always happy to go and see my artists there. But you'll never get an experience like that small venue. Yeah. So, it's time, I think, for the arenas and the artists to go, actually, what we're going to do, we're in Leeds for this certain day, and we're going to do what we can to get round some of the smaller venues as well and just pay homage to where we came from.
There's that place, isn't there, in Shepton Mallet? It's called the Cheese and Grain. Where,
yes, I know what you mean, yeah.
Because it's very near Glastonbury, so lots of acts who are playing Glastonbury will go and do a warm-up. And I've got I've got friends who've been there to see, Coldplay and Paul McCartney, like literally in a room with like 200 people. Extraordinary.
Nothing like it, man.
Exactly, there's nothing like it, even if it makes you a bit deaf. Kate, really good to speak to you. Kate Hardcastle from the Rock and Roll Business Podcast. Thanks very much for coming on.